Okay, here's the thing. Women's perspective should absolutely be included in everything. I don't care that this is a show written by men, for men, about men. It is still on the topic of all things of male violence. Who suffers from that the most? Women. It's fascinating, some of the comments I'm getting from women when I just dare to, like a teeny tiny criticism of this show. The way women are responding to me, I think you need to do a little bit more work on this. Okay, so I didn't even say that this show should not exist. I didn't say that it wasn't well done. All I said was this show would be very different if a woman had written it or been involved in the writing or like in a major way. And B, I said I would love a follow-up of all the women that were left out of this story, because this wasn't about them. We didn't give a crap about Katie. We didn't give a crap about her best friend who is not doing okay, the mother, the sister, or any of the family members of the actual victim who is dead. Everything is about this fucking kid and his dad and the dad cop. And like, I know that what women do, what we do all the time, is that if a man is doing anything at all that is not super violent, or if he's doing anything at all, any man is talking about a woman's issue, we can't criticize them because maybe they'll shut up and they'll become incels. No, I'm sorry, but they're not beyond reproach. Even somebody who made an amazing series. You know, I swear to God, just as parentheses, all the British people coming into my page, I want you to understand that the way y'all talk to Americans is the way boomers talk to their children. Just so you know, it's freaking annoying. I have British friends and sometimes I have to call them out. I'm like, stop talking to me like I'm forking stupid. Not all British people, okay? Not all. I know, we're forking annoying. I crap on Americans constantly. I know, we're annoying. But y'all are annoying too. But this show, the problem I have with this show is that I would like a follow-up. Because the way that, like, it literally, even though they were aware that they did this, it's still a little problematic. We don't know anything about Katie. We don't know anything about her family. And when you center the person perpetuating the violence and why, and exclude the, like, any point of view or anything about the victims of the violence, you're kind of a little bit doing the same thing. Here's another example. If a bunch of white people got together and we talked about racism and no black people were involved in that conversation at all. No, like then that's a problem. We are going to miss something. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. This is what, and I also want to tell y'all that I made a video about this a while ago, but when I wrote that article, Men Have No Friends and Women Bear the Burden, I actually think I'm going to pitch another story to Harper's as a follow-up, because I have actually since changed my mind. I do not think men's groups are necessarily a great idea anymore, unless they are actively deconstructing patriarchy in those men's groups, and they have women who are helping those men outside of the group to know what to challenge each other on. Because I have seen firsthand the limitations of men's groups as somebody who's married to a man who started men's groups because he really believes in all this stuff. And also as somebody who interviewed women who knew men in men's groups who hated men's groups, because the men's groups ended up devolving into like men just complaining and not challenging each other and not calling each other out and actually becoming more selfish. Okay? So the same way that as I'm trying to unlearn white supremacy culture, right? And whiteness and the violence of that, it's important for me to have white friends who are also deconstructing so that we can talk about things and and share in our process. But if I am being led in those conversations by a white person, I'm going to miss something. I'm going to get it wrong, right? Because the victims of violence always should be centered, no matter what kind of violence that is, you know? So this show did a great job at showing, wow, hey, this is why I said in the last video, and I think a lot of y'all who made this comment didn't watch the whole video, Because I said this is like 101 level. We got a big problem. Men need to deal with it. Men need to care about it and deal with it. And parents, wake up call. This is what's happening. But the series fell short in that it needs a follow-up. It needs a follow-up that centers on all the women who are way bigger victims than that kid and his dad. Do we need their story too? Absolutely. But that's all we got. The mom totally left out. Sister, who cares? All we got was a photo of Katie. And the only footage we see of her is literally getting stabbed, right? We don't know anything about her family, nothing. And that's literally what they do in the news. And even though they acknowledge that in the show, they, on some level, by calling it out, great. But then they ended up perpetuating it again. If we hadn't had that one scene with the psychologist or therapist or whatever, we would have got nothing in terms of a female perspective on anything. All I am saying here is that if men are going to deal with this subject where women are literally dying, girls are dying, children are dying at the hands of male violence, they got to be very careful with it. And I think, again, this is an amazing show. It's an amazing show. It can expand on it. It's not perfect though. And we are allowed to have criticisms of it. I swear to God, you can tell, by the way, it's the same thing. The violence of men, of even just a few men, benefits all men. And this is a perfect example. Because this is a great show. Yay, thank you, men, for making the show. Thank you. You're so brave. Yay, do it again. Okay, can we get that out of the way? But women are so afraid of having any criticism whatsoever. We're just so glad that they care at all. That we're not allowed to have any criticism of the way they did it. Not one. It's just all hail the man who cares about kids murdering girls. Do you see what I mean? This is how men, okay, the other thing that I want to probably do a longer video on is, yes, like, I felt so bad for that dad. And that kid learned violence online, but he also learned it in the home. And anybody who's been around a man who is about to blow up and doesn't, that constant fear and threat of violence in the home absolutely impacts that entire family, the children, and especially the wife, because, she usually gets it first, but maybe not. Maybe the kids do. Everyone in that home tiptoes around the moods of men. That's why I talk about men will abuse you with their moods. Was this dad abusive? No. But he wouldn't deal with his childhood. He clearly got his ass kicked regularly. Doesn't sound like he ever really dealt with it. He just thought, as long as I don't do that to my kids, I'm a good dad. Did he love his kid? Yeah. But he abandoned his kid on some level, right? He was active, but then he also didn't know how to deal with his rage, right? We know he had an anger problem. Never hit his kid. Never hit anyone in the family as far as we know. But clearly he has an anger problem, because you could tell by the way the daughter and his wife tiptoed around him and had to suppress all their rage, all their feelings. For his are centered. And I know the only way men will watch this crap is if they're centered. I know that. Again, this is a TV show written by men, for men, about men. I know that. But a woman's perspective absolutely deserves to be a part of this conversation, since we are the ones dying. Okay? The same way white people, even though we suffer from whiteness, okay? It dehumanizes us. It makes us morally bankrupt. We don't even have in touch with it harms white people, but never as much as it harms Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, but especially Black people. So we should never be the center that doesn't take into account the impact of that violence. That's what I'm saying here. All I want is a follow-up. That's what I say in the video. But so many people are like, you're missing the point. It's for men. It's not for you. Women shouldn't be involved. Fork off. Women absolutely should be involved in what we're dying from. This is the comment song French edition, but not the fancy food that you think of. But this is just another part of France. This is the Frozen theme park song. This is a, what do you call it? Middle class beach town with all the stuff. I think they buy it from the old shit from the United States. Because a lot of it's in English. Anyway, I also saw a wrestling match, but it's a French one because they had, the typical dudes, scary kind of, but also they had this guy coming up soon. He was just basically like a Fabio, I think, skinny jeans. Wrestling guy. It was so funny. I was like, can I take a picture? Anyway, they actually won, the dork and the skinny, like the Fabio guy. Anyway, French wrestling, yeah. But it's almost as funny as French monster trucks, which I talk about on my Patreon. Go join my Patreon. I talk about this kind of crazy stuff over there. Bye!